Welcome back to a brand new video, and we are going over the Backlash review. And the show started off with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, and immediately the match started with Braun Breaker running towards Seth Rollins jumping over Braun Breaker going in the corner. He gets hit with a boot to the face and a dive to the outside, where Braun Breaker gets his face thrown all silly into the metal barricade, into the other one, then throws him back in the ring, clotheslines him outside to the other side, and hits a dive. But Braun Breaker caught him and hit him off the steel steps and threw him over the barricade. But then all of a sudden we see Seth Rollins come and attack Braun Breaker from the barricade after Braun Breaker wasn't looking. Then they both get back in the ring. Braun Breaker does a belly to belly over the head suplex to Seth Rollins after they got back in the ring to the outside. Then he bounces Seth Rollins' head on the apron, but Seth Rollins fights back, hitting chops to Braun Breaker. But Braun Breaker did not like that one bit and started just pounding his head in and putting him back in the ring and started caving his stomach in, and hit a beautiful suplex into a German and a nasty backbreaker to Seth with a big running clothesline, and another German, and then hit the Frankensteiner. Then Seth Rollins rolls to the outside. Braun Breaker goes running for a spear. He jumps, gets hit with a super kick mid-air. They get back in the ring, forearm punches, all that stuff. Then Seth Rollins hits a big lariat clothesline to Braun Breaker. Then went for the stomp. Braun Breaker stood up straight on his knees, hit a big boot to the face. Then went for the stomp. Then Braun Breaker caught the foot and picked him up over his head and hit a gut buster. Then we see another boot to the face. Then Seth Rollins went for a pedigree, but it gets reversed into a standing moonsault. Then Braun Breaker punches Seth Rollins in the head a couple times, but of course Seth Rollins picks him up, throws him in the corner. But this doesn't help because he gets hit with a nasty clothesline out of nowhere. Then Braun Breaker does his classic dive from the apron to the announce table, throws Seth Rollins back in the ring, and all of a sudden Braun Breaker goes on the top rope. He gets hit with a superplex. Then Braun Breaker reverses it into a Falcon Arrow of his own. Then he puts Seth Rollins on the top of the announce table, or on the top rope. He gets hit with a Frankensteiner. Does it for again. Seth Rollins somehow, some way, landed on his feet. Kicks Braun Breaker straight in the face twice. Went for a third time, but got hit with it. Big pedigree stomp, but the referee got distracted by Paul Heyman before Seth Rollins could get the cover. And then Seth Rollins rolls out of the ring, grabs his steel chair, and was waiting for Austin Theory and Logan Paul, which they did come. He takes Logan Paul and Austin Theory out with the chair. Stomp to Theory, gets back in the ring after he chased out Logan Paul to the back. Spear for the 1, 2, ooh. Then Braun Breaker was like, how did that happen? Then he gets mad, takes down the straps, goes for another spear, but he gets hit with a pedigree. And then Seth Rollins went for the super stomp onto the top rope, but gets caught midair with a big spear for the then gets hit with another spear for the 1, 2, 3. And your winner is Braun Breaker. So congratulations for Braun Breaker for winning the match and putting on a banger match with Seth Rollins. And it was a great way to start off Backlash 2026. And a great way to rid of the WrestleMania short matches tendency. Anyway, we saw Sammy Hogan take on Trick Willie, and they start off with a lockup. Then Trick Williams gets back into a corner with Sami Zayn, chops. Then all of a sudden, Sami Zayn gets hit with a big clothesline from Trick Williams, then stomps to the face, and goes to the outside, throws Sami Zayn to the steel steps, but then Trick Williams gets hit with the steel steps, and Sami Zayn goes after little boatman right here, Lil Yachty. Then we see a big roundhouse kick straight to the face of Sami Zayn into a nasty neck breaker. Then Trick hits a big leg straight to Sami into a body slam. Goes for the trick shot. Sami dodges out the way. Then he gets hit with a bookend. Then Sami hits Trick with a sunset flip powerbomb into the ring. Then when Sami went for the Helluva Kick, he got hit straight in the face by Trick. Trick Williams gets hit with a Blue Thunder Bomb. And as Sami Zayn bounces from the bottom rope to land on his feet, he goes after his knee, saying, "Ah, I hurt my knee." And I didn't believe it for a second, because I know the manipulation tactics that Sami Zayn pulls. And it ended up being a possum where he rolled Trick Williams up for the 1-2, ooh. But Sami Zayn took advantage, hitting with punches and stuff. Lil Yachty distracting the referee. This allowed Sammy Hogan to grab the kendo stick and hit Trick Williams over the head with it. Throws it out of the ring. Goes for the pin for the 1-2, ooh, because Trick Willie kicked out. Then stomps him out in the corner. Referee saying, stop it, multiple times, backing him away. Then all of a sudden he goes for a Helluva Kick as the referee's trying to check on Trick Williams. But thank the Lord that little Yachty grabbed the kendo stick and hit Sami Zayn right in the back. Big pump boot for the 1-2, ooh. Then Sami Zayn sends Trick Williams to the outside and attacks Boatman for no reason at all, hitting him with the kendo stick over and over. But Trick Williams hits Sami Zayn and sends him to the steel steps. But Sami Zayn hits a nasty DDT on the steel steps to Trick Williams. Then hits a Helluva Kick on Little Yachty for no reason at all. He slides back in the ring, goes for the Helluva Kick. Trick dodges out of the way. Trick shot. 1, 2, 3, and still the United States champion, Trick Willie. So congratulations to Trick Williams. Now it was time for Kit Wilson and The Miz to take on Danhausen. But before we saw this little vignette of Danhausen's debut at Elimination Chamber called WWE Studio Housens presents a very nice, a very evil production. A story of friendship. Shows the friendship between him and The Miz. A story of love. Shows Miz and Maurice's love. A story of betrayal. Shows The Miz attacking Maurice over and over again. And then, of course, him turning on Danhausen, and a story of redemption. Danhausen finding the money, he getting beat up by The Miz and all that stuff. And it says starring The Miz as The Miz. Starring Kip. Okay. With Kip Wilson playing as Kit Wilson. Featuring Blimp owner Slammy Award possessor, future WWE Hall of Famer, Triple H pointed at in a photo, very nice, very evil, Danhausen, the Night of a Living Cursed. And introducing at Backlash, Danhausen's tag team partner. Then we see this little glowing crate. Danhausen comes out, points at the cloning machine, and it was a Minihausen! Yes, sir. They ride down to the ring, and immediately Minihausen was like, I got this. But he gets kicked straight by Kit Wilson, and Kit Wilson celebrates. But this Minihausen was very talented, kicks Kit Wilson in the shin, and did the springboard shoulder tackle, and a nasty, whatever you'd call this, like a Hurricane Rana face plant. Then he even sent The Miz with a Hurricane Rana, and then Kit Wilson grabbed the hair of this Minihausen, but he got punched in the stomach over and over again. And he even got picked up with a powerbomb position. Then a Hurricane Rana, Kit Wilson out to the outside, and a big dive. onto The Miz and Kit Wilson, but The Miz took Danhausen and slammed him straight into the LED ring post, and Kit Wilson decided to take a boot to Minniehausen, and as the referee was backing Kit Wilson up, Miz hits Minniehausen in the face and hits a big power slam. And then, of course, Kit Wilson hits Minniehausen with a big slam and puts Minniehausen onto the top rope. Then, when Kit Wilson was going for a running headbutt, the core strength of Minniehausen brought him back up and hit a nasty moonsault. Then we see Danhausen get in there, hit Miz with a with an atomic drop clothesline, hits Kit Wilson with a superplex, hits him in the corner, and then Danhausen, after running back and forth at Kit Wilson and The Miz, he was tired, so he decided to take a 5-second break. Then he hulked up, hit Miz again. Then when Kit Wilson was trying to attack Danhausen, Danhausen moves out the way, hits The Miz, and he gets his German suplex out of the way, and The Miz gets hit with a DDT. Then we see Danhausen hit a big boot to Kit Wilson, and The Miz goes for a roll-up on Danhausen, but Danhausen reverses, goes in the corner, runs, misses, and we see Kit Wilson get thrown out of the ring by Minniehausen once again. Ooh. Speaking of this match, it's on the screen right now. Okay. Anyway, we see Minniehausen dive on Kit Wilson and The Miz out of nowhere. Then they go back into the cloning machine, and the cloning machine does work because more clones come out, and they just run after Kit Wilson. Kit Wilson gets picked up by Minniehausen, but then he grabs the mirror, shows Minniehausen in the face. Then The Miz picks Minniehausen up, hits a skull-crushing finale for the 1-2, until Danhausen breaks it up. Then Miz goes to the outside, grabs a fire extinguisher, tries to point it at the Hausens, but doesn't work, points at his face, voila! The curse is real, he gets hit with it, and it goes all over where Danhausen throws him in the ring. We see Minniehausen dive on Kit Wilson, big boot to the face for the 1, 2, 3, and the winners are Danhausen and Minniehausen, so congratulations to them for the big win. Then it was time for Asuka versus Io Sky, and we see these two on the announcer's table fighting. Then all of a sudden, Asuka went for the mist. We see Io grab Wade Barrett's notebook, dodges the mist, catches the kick, face plant right onto the announce table, big crossbody, big springboard moonsault, throws her back in the ring, goes for the over the moonsault, but gets caught into a triangle choke, into an Asuka lock for a 1-2, for almost a pass out. Then Io Sky reverses into a roll for a 1-2. Then they start slapping each other, punching each other, all that stuff. Asuka delivers a big German suplex. Asuka goes for a roundhouse kick, misses, or big German suplex. Bullet train stomped and hits a clean over the moonsault for a 1-2-3. That's a lot of Danhausen's. Oh my god. For a 1-2-3. And Asuka wins. And after the match, we see Asuka and Io share a big hug. And kind of, I feel like this is telling that maybe Asuka's leaving WWE or maybe retiring. Who knows? Then it was time for John Cena's big announcement, which is interesting. John Cena grabs the microphone, and John Cena says that he thinks about his retirement match a lot, and all the stars that were made from that night, like Sol Ruka and Obafemi, the crowd started chanting, "Oh, but yeah, oh, but yeah." John said that he made his final opponent work in their opportunity to face John Cena. John Cena says that there will be a new event, a new title called the John Cena Classic, where stars from NXT main roster can all compete for a championship that the fans will vote for. The champion, and even if the wrestler loses, they can still become the champion because if they hustle and get the fans' respect, they can be voted to be champion. So basically, what this is a popularity contest. So the IWC is going to be running this basically, which I'm still not 100% sure how this is for real, because let's be honest, WWE could easily rig the vote. Easily rig the vote. Not that hard. Next up, it was time for Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship, and immediately Roman Reigns hits a big closed shoulder tackle onto Jacob Fatu. He celebrates, but Jacob Fatu's right there at the end, hits Roman Reigns with a little headlock. Roman throws him off the ropes. Big leapfrog into a clothesline that does not move Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu hits another clothesline on Roman Reigns. This sends Roman Reigns down. Sends Roman to the outside. Big dive to the outside. Caught into a Tongan death grip where he gets slammed to the LED ring post. Then Roman's like, you know what? I need to ruin Jacob Fatu's arm. So he starts using the rope and pulling down on the arm. It even throws Jacob's hand into the LED ring post, which didn't work out. Jacob and Roman go punch for punch at each other. Roman does the 10 punches, couple clotheslines. Then Jacob Fatu takes Roman Reigns down with a big clothesline, throws him into the LED ring post. Then Jacob runs at Roman. Roman dodges, lands straight on the LED ring post, gets hit with a big clothesline. Then super clothesline, big boot into a Superman punch for the 1-2. Ooh. But Jacob Fatu gets up really quick, and Roman's like, how you do that? How did that happen? They start throwing punches at each other. Roman hits a kick straight to the face of Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu knocks that off like nothing ever hit him. Hits a big clothesline on Roman Reigns. Senton, then headbutts in the corner. Big booty splash for the 1-2. Then Roman Reigns gets from the corner, hits a big Superman punch and a drive-by, but Roman gets hit with a Tongan death grip again. I know, sucks. Then powerbomb through the announcer's table, which was a delayed break, so I feel bad for Roman having to take a bump twice. Then we see Roman get thrown back into the announce ring. Roman gets into the ring. Jacob Fatu gets in the ring. Spear for the 1-2. Where Roman goes for another one, but gets caught with a thrown in the air and a Samoan drop. Big mighty moonsault for the 1-2. Roman kicks out. Jacob goes back to the top, goes for a swanton, but gets knees to the back. They start throwing punches at each other. Back and forth. Roman gets punched into the corner, hits a big booty thing, another big booty thing. Roman gets up, try to do a spear, but gets caught with a Tongan death grip. Taken to the ground. Roman's arm went limp. The referee lifted it up, by the way, which is dumb because Roman Reigns' arm was limp. His arm was literally limp where he probably should have lost right there. But the referee picks it up. Roman fought back, hits punch, and starts grabbing at the eyes of Jacob Fatu. Throws him into the corner and crushing the referee. Big Superman punch. Another Superman punch. I don't even know. Big Superman punch. And I think into another Superman punch. But Roman gets hit with a super kick. Went for a pop-up Samoan drop, but gets caught with a Superman punch. Spear! Then for 1-2, and Roman gets put back into the Tongan death grip, and Roman's like, help! And grabs the referee, tries to pull him down, but that wouldn't help. Goes to the corner, rips the turnbuckle off, and then slams Jacob Fatu's head straight into the exposed turnbuckle. Spear for the 1, 2, 3, and Roman Reigns is still the World Heavyweight Champion. But that was not okay with Jacob. He looks at the referee, goes back at Roman, hitting the Tongan Death Grip on Roman again. The referee's like, stop it, but the referee gets hit with a pop-up Samoan drop again. Or gets hit with for the first time. Goes back after Roman. Officials get into the ring with Jacob saying, stop, stop, stop. But Hurricane gets hit with a super kick. Adam Pearce gets thrown out of the ring. And he puts Roman Reigns back into the Tongan Death Grip again. And Roman is like, ugh, I need a break. I need a whole month off. And we see a deranged, crazy man in Jacob Fatu licking his fingers, which is pretty weird. Why would you want to lick your fingers, Jacob? It's kind of weird. And this kind of reminds me of the Jacob Fatu that debuted 2 years ago with Solo. Kind of reminds me of that. But then he gets back in the ring, hits another Tongan Death Grip on Roman, and we see Jacob Fatu's hair getting pulled by Adam Pearce, and he wouldn't let go. We kept on holding Roman's throat closed, grabs the title, and raises it in the air, indicating to the world and to WWE management that Roman Reigns and him are not done. Oh, look, it's Big E on camera. Yeah, Big E, bro. I think it's time to cut your hair. Anyway, Jacob Fatu indicates to WWE management that he's not done. And people for saying that this is writing Roman Reigns off of TV, no. There's no way, because WWE already confirmed that Roman Reigns is here for the rest of the month and is scheduled to appear on the next Raw, the next Raw after that, and the next Raw after that, and Clash in Italy. So, Roman Reigns is going to be busy for the rest of the month, so he's not being written off. And if he is being written off, it's because he's being written off for Clash in Italy. If he's being written off, it's Clash in Italy. Because he's not going to be a peer, right? And again, we still have not really know, because WWE confirmed some dates, but again, WWE can confirm more dates for Roman. Who really knows? But I don't really care, right? Like, who really cares, right? But this was your Backlash in the first PLE after WrestleMania, and honestly, I thought it was a pretty solid show. Everything considering. Like, we had longer matches. I'm glad we had longer matches because, let's be honest, the WrestleMania's matches were short as heck. So, yeah. I'm glad we have longer matches. But what do you guys think about this show? Leave it in the comments below. Anyway, have a beautiful rest of the day. See you tomorrow. Bye.